We have massive updates coming from the Strait of Hormuz, the situation between Iran, the United States. As we all know, the deadline for Iran to actually start to work with the United States is coming in the next less than 24 hours now. So yeah, it's going to be a bumpy ride. But then we also have an update coming from the United States on the fact that Sharia law is starting to be banned from all of the states. It's huge news. Let's get right into it. All I ask in return before we do get started is for you guys to like, subscribe. Now let's see what's going on. Starting off with the fact that Argentina has started to adopt policies from Donald Trump, and well, it's having insanely positive effects. You can see here the president of Argentina is being welcomed as a freaking celebrity, and this is because he's adopted Donald Trump's policies, where the president Javier Milei has cut half of extreme poverty from 11% to 5%, and generic poverty, regular poverty, from 30% to 17%. Trump's policies are working worldwide, so that is really good news.
Yeah, I think that's about right. What happened in Libya is that Bush 43 told Gaddafi, you know, we want you to dismantle your nuclear program, and he convinced Gaddafi to let America go in and take the centrifuges out, remove the uranium in Libya. That's the model I want here. We know they have about 900 pounds of 60% enriched uranium. That's a big dirty bomb. That's enough to make 8 or 10 nuclear bombs if you get to 90%. There is no commercial purpose for 60% enriched uranium. We need to get our hands on that. They need to give it to us, or we need to take it. As to the Strait of Hormuz, when this is over, if they have the ability to control the straits in the future, I think the world will have failed, and I don't think Trump's going to let that happen. So again, the idea that they control the straits in the future has got to be off the table. The idea that they can come back as the largest state sponsor of terrorism has to be off the table. That they can never have a nuke, they can never make missiles to threaten us in the region has to be off the table. I prefer diplomacy, but if they don't do that, how many times do you have to be told by Trump, I'm going to do something to you, and he actually does it before you believe it? So this is a defining moment in the history of the Mideast.
24
this is a
hours.
defining moment for the president. We can't slip this again. Now, the fourth and fifth string, you're not on the team unless you're a nut job. I don't care what string you're playing on. You're not in a leadership role in Iran unless you buy into the radical ideology. Don't be fooled about who the hell you're dealing with here. You're dealing with people that would use a nuclear weapon if they could get it, and they were trying to get it. They've been cheating for years, and God bless Donald Trump for stopping them from having a breakout so they could build 8 or 10 nuclear bombs, and one day they would have used them. So God bless President Trump. God bless Epic Fury. But this is a defining moment. This time tomorrow night, we're going to have one of two scenarios. Capitulation of their desire to rain terror on the world through diplomacy, or we're going to have a massive military attack.
Are they stupid people, or can they work with President Trump and actually be smart? Less than 24 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Set your timers, because this is going to be very interesting.
The CIA sprung into action, using classified technology to locate the airman and confirm his identity. They thought it could have been an Iranian trap, so they had to make sure. And while they found this needle in a haystack, the agency toyed with the enemy's head.
At the president's direction, we deployed both human assets and exquisite technologies that no other intelligence service in the world possesses to a daunting challenge, comparable to hunting for a single grain of sand in the middle of a desert. CIA executed a deception campaign to confuse the Iranians, who were desperately hunting for our airmen. Our intelligence reflects that the Iranians were embarrassed and ultimately humiliated by the success of this audacious rescue mission.
That is bad ass, and anybody who says otherwise must hate the West.
I know that President Trump and Secretary Rubio are working so diligently to revoke the visas of nearly 3,000 to 4,000 Iranian elites who currently live in this country. The double standard not only in their wardrobe, but in the fact that they get to live here in the greatest country in the world with safety and prosperity. Man, you couldn't make it up, Sean, if you tried.
Damn, dude. Damn. Swap out their visas, huh? Come on. Give them to me and my family. We'll take them. We'll take the visas.
We'll hopefully find that leaker. We're looking very hard to find that leaker, and talked about there's somebody missing. They basically said that we have one and there's somebody missing. Well, they didn't know there was somebody missing until this leaker gave the information. So whoever it was, we think we'll be able to find it out, because we're going to go to the media company that released it, and we're going to say, national security, give it up or go to jail. And we know who, and you know who we're talking about, because some things you can't do, because when they did that, all of a sudden...
Man, that's still crazy to me that a freaking media outlet in the United States are the ones to have leaked this information. I get that the media, they're trying to be the first to receive and to dish out information, right? Because that's how they get paid, through clicks and all that. But man, that's so dangerous to be putting out that level of information, bro. That's top secret. Why are you putting that out? Wait, do you hate America that much that you're putting that information out? What the hell's the matter with you?
What does it tell you, and this is about kind of going forward, that this this happened, that the Iranians still have the capability to shoot down U.S. aircraft, even as the president is saying that the U.S. and Israel have obliterated this Iranian capability?
Here's what I think the stark hard truth is, that the Iranians still have the capacity to attack our aircraft, despite the claim and the boasting that we have total superiority and control of the airspace. They still have drones and missiles. We have not destroyed completely their capacity. And the really hard truth is that bombing alone can't accomplish any of President Trump's objectives here, whether it's regime change or controlling the enriched uranium or giving the Iranian people a chance at changing their regime. But what it also tells me is that we are on the precipice, potentially, of a catastrophic invasion, a operation to put troops on the ground, because none of these objectives can be accomplished by bombing alone. And that's been my fear that I've expressed repeatedly, based on the classified briefings that I've received as to what our tactics have been and could be, as well as the fact that the president has dragged us into a war that the American people don't want, without a strategy and at tremendous economic cost, but now mounting casualties among civilians as well as our own military.
Senator,
365 wounded.
And Senator,
Dude, CNN hates America. It doesn't get more clear than this. I mean, I get that they don't like Trump, but these people are ridiculous. They absolutely hate the United States. It's an anti-patriotic, it's an anti-American media outlet at this point. It's disgusting behavior, and I can't wait for something to finally happen where we don't have to see CNN anymore, because their guests are anti-American. The whole angle is anti-American. It's disgusting.
Negotiated settlement.
Would you be okay, though, with leaving Iran without the Strait of Hormuz being reopened? President Trump has set that deadline for Monday, saying there are going to be significant consequences if it's not reopened.
Let me tell you what won't reopen the Strait of Hormuz: threatening war.
Pussy. Stop being such a pussy. These backbench politicians, these nobodies, try to make a name for themselves by shitting on President Trump and his decisions of dealing with these terrorist regimes. And it's almost like anti-American. I bet you I know what he's going to say. You know what? You gotta be more diplomatic, like Barack Hussein Obama. Just watch.
Crimes of bombing indiscriminately power plants, cursing at Iran. Well, we need a statesmanship like President Obama had. What we need to do is to stop the bombing, have a ceasefire, and then to work with Oman, to work with China, to work with the Gulf allies and European allies to have a solution to allow Hormuz to be open. But it's not going to happen by massive escalation.
Yeah, but that kumbaya crap also doesn't work. Okay, because Barack Obama, Joe Biden, they gave these terrorists a bunch of money. So yeah, they may, like, Barack might have been okay with speeches and he might have won over the press, right? Left leaning, of course. But at the end of the day, he didn't really get stuff done. Lied, manipulated the public. It was gross. President Trump's pretty transparent about a lot of things, man. A lot of things. Agree or disagree with the war in Iran and what America is doing, that's fine, but don't be anti-American about it. And then we got to take a look here at Ron DeSantis, because Governor Ron DeSantis formally signs legislation that's cracking down on Sharia law and Islamists across Florida. You can see here, he had just signed the bill and he's clapping. Look at this. Everybody's happy. But let's actually take a look at what it is that he signed.
Okay, I want to bring you up to speed on some of the news of the day. Governor Ron DeSantis signed a new law today allowing the state to designate domestic terrorist organizations. He specifically says the move will go after groups practicing what he claims is Islamic extremism. New tonight, 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Annie Krall talks with Florida's largest Muslim civil rights group, who says the law could be weaponized to target them.
A round of applause at USF for Governor Ron DeSantis signing House Bill 1471 into law. This after DeSantis named the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, a foreign terrorist organization in December.
Is that something that we want to be a part of? I mean, if there's a school that is allied with CAIR, should you have any of your money going to things like that? I think not.
So the Florida chapter sued a federal judge, temporarily blocking the enforcement in March. The governor's speech happening on the same campus where 3 men were accused of harassing Muslim students during a prayer session in November. Florida Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins also showed his support for the bill signing. The retired Green Beret saying he has spent years fighting the global war on terror.
We have just one set of laws, one constitution. No other laws should be recognized or supersede our laws or be allowed to conflict with our Constitution.
Yet Hiba Rahim, executive director of CAIR Florida, pushed back on Monday's comments.
In fact, Islamic law teaches and commands that Muslims must abide by the law of the land. And I believe strongly, and we believe strongly, that these government officials know this, but they use these scare tactics to rile up the community and people and say, oh, we're not bringing Sharia into America. Well, guess what? Neither are we, and neither is anybody.
CAIR Florida announcing a press conference in response at noon on Tuesday.
There's not a single American Muslim who I know, there's not a single scholar who I know, or an imam or cleric, who has ever preached for Sharia law to be implemented in the United States.
Annie Krall, 10 Tampa Bay News.
Bro, there's literally thousands of protesters that are saying death to America, Muslim protesters that are saying death to America, burning the American flags. I mean, it's very much wide in the open. They don't hide it at all. Muslims and people from those countries are actually gloating about coming to the United States, coming to Canada, invading it, so to speak, taking it over and saying it's on camera. I mean, go to look at any of the videos of these protests. These people, they know that there's an invasion happening. They're happy to be a part of it, and they are literally threatening the West every single day, and they're gloating about it on social media for the world to see. So to say that you have never seen any Muslim American push for Sharia law, yeah, that's a little bit of a bubble, because we all see it. We've seen it. I don't even need to put a clip at the end of this video. You've seen it. I've seen it. We're just going to end the video here. But that is everything. Let me know what you guys think about that Ron DeSantis bill that he just passed, that he just signed. And do you think that's good for the South, or do you think that's bad? Let me know what you guys think. That is the video, though. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts and comments about any of the topics that were covered. Hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another one. Bye for now.